Good morning. Morning everyone, and welcome to the Tenaya Lake Sunrise Trailhead. These seem to come around so fast because last year I did 2 hikes up to Clouds Rest, one in summer and one in the fall, but I haven't been for a while, and this is going to be my last chance for a couple of weeks. So I am heading on the 7.4 miles to Clouds Rest and then 7.4 miles back. So yeah, around 15 miles round trip. It's nice and early in the morning. It's quite cold, but I've been reading all trails, which you know I recommend all the time. And yeah, apparently the bugs are horrific. But if you watched my video of the hike last summer, you'll know I got bitten like real bad. But I'm not taking any chances today. I have got a load of bug spray, and I also have a mosquito net which I'm going to wear over my hat. So if I look weird, tough. That's how it is. But yeah, I've just come onto the start of the trail. It's a few cars in the parking lot already, and there's already some mosquitoes. But I've also seen 2 deer right by the parking lot, which is really cool. So yeah, I'm hoping, I'm not in a rush today. I'm not trying to like break any time records. I just want to really enjoy the hike today, because it is one of my favourites here in Yosemite. So I better get started. So here's the first, not really a challenge, but this is something that a lot of people get caught out by, especially early in the season. This does dry up as the year goes on, but at the start of the summer, this is always full of water and it's quite hard to cross. But it looks like I might be able to make it today without changing my shoes. And looking just back on the meadow, right, so the parking lot is just here, and then this meadow is right in front. And you can just see way in the distance, you probably can't see it on the GoPro, but there's a big stag deer feeding on grass there, and there was 2 deer just after the parking lot there as well. So really nice spot for wildlife watching. And here we go. So these are the stepping stones now. It looks like the water has actually gone down enough that I'm going to be able to cross today, which is really cool. In the past I've had to take flip-flops or change over my shoes, but yeah, I'm going to make this no problem today. Be warned, it's freezing cold, so if you do have to cross it for some reason, just be warned, your feet will be like ice blocks. But here we go. So one thing that a lot of people have been asking on my previous Clouds Rest videos is about how hard it is. And it is, I'm not going to lie, it's more of on the challenging side of hikes, but it's not like half them, it's not that technical. And a few people also asked about, is it easy to follow the trail? So in my opinion it is. There are a few junctions, but all of them are clearly signed as Clouds Rest. And as you can probably tell from what I've just shown you, the start of the trail, it does verge off in many different ways. So just follow the ones that say Clouds Rest and you literally can't go wrong. So this area is a stream that feeds into Tenaya Lake, and it usually has water, but I have seen it almost bone dry towards the end of the season. And it's this area where the bugs will be really bad on the way back, because the water's not moving very much and it's just like a festering ground for mozzies. Whereas on the other side there's lots of rocks. It's quite cold right now, but it's going to warm up, and when it does I think the bugs will be out with a vengeance. comes another small creek crossing. Now, even early in the season, this is usually very passable. It's so dry actually, you can tell it's been hot here. So there is a little bit of flowing water up there, but nothing of any concern. And we're heading just over here. So that's the first mile of the trail done already. Only another 15 to go, or 14 to go. But the first section is quite straightforward. I would say there's a little bit of up and a little bit of down, but it all kind of levels out. So I wouldn't say it's a strenuous section at all. On the way back, usually I find this bit a bit of a slog because it's quite boring and uneventful. And it always seems for me anyway, it seems to drag. But yeah, so far the sun is still not quite crested over, so the temperature is still quite fresh. But I'm sure I'll be taking my hoodie off soon because very shortly I'll be starting to climb, and it's not a long climb, but it is a series of switchbacks that's probably one of the most challenging parts of the hike, but it's very doable if you take your time. But yeah, it's quite exposed, so I'd imagine if the sun's on me then I'll definitely be taking the hoodie off and getting my sweat on. But I'll just pan around and show you the trail here. So it's quite sandy, in the forest, some boulder areas on either side, and just very peaceful. It's definitely off the beaten track up here, so you don't get to see too many people, which is quite nice. So I'm around 1.75 miles into the trail, and I'm just about to get to the steep climb, as I call it, but so far it's been a steady incline for the last sort of half a mile, so it's enough to get your heart rate up a little bit and start a bit of a sweat. I'm getting swarmed now. But it's just this section where you're going to make your way up to the top of this, basically, is the long and short of it. So I am going to take this opportunity, take this hoodie off, spray a bit more bug spray, and then start the climb up. But this is also the first spot where you start to just see some amazing views of the High Sierra, and it's this direction that you've come from. So I just thought I'd pause here and give a bit of perspective of how far I've come. So it's over that direction that Tenaya Lake is, and you can see you've climbed quite a bit already, but there's still so much more to go. Now, on this section, I think you climb around 1,000 feet in under a mile, which isn't like that extreme compared to some of the hikes in the valley, but I think the key difference with this one is that like at this point I'm already at 8,700 feet of elevation. So if like me you don't live at high altitude, the air feels so much thinner. So when you're doing these exertive sections, the steep climbs, it just hits you harder. It's not so bad on the slower sections because you don't notice it as much, but it's when you're exerting yourself that you really notice that elevation change. So my only recommendation would be to take this section, you know, easy and, you know, take your time, because there's not a race to get up there. But yeah, it's a gorgeous morning. There is a few people out today, and the last time I did this trail was in October and it was dead. I think I saw like 2 people all day, but it's definitely going to be busier later. It's 4th of July in 2 days. Yeah, 2 days, 2nd of July today. So there'll be a lot of people on vacations and like summer breaks up here, so I'm sure there will be a lot more people on the trail, especially on the way back. I'll probably pass quite a lot of people that have come out, you know, a little bit later in the day. But just again, stunning vistas, and it's going to keep getting better, so don't be tempted to think that's as good as it gets, because trust me, it's not. And look at this horrible mosquito that's chasing me. I better keep moving. Oh my, that sure is a challenging uphill first thing in the morning, but I kept a steady pace, and I'm at the point where it levels for about 5 minutes, and then it's another down section to a lake, and it's very pretty. Lots of wildflowers in that section, so this is a good spot to just take 5. It's a trail junction, so it's a flat little portion, and you've got trails off to Twomey Meadows, Sunrise Lakes, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, I always think it's a good spot to just stop and to take it all in, really. But the sun is well and truly out now, so I'm glad I have my sunscreen on and my bug spray. And you can see this is the sort of top peak that you were looking at as you were climbing up, and the trail cuts through just on the side here, so it's not quite as high, but it still is a good old climb. So here is the trail junction. Let me just reposition my camera. So I've shown this quite a few times, so if you've seen my video here before, a video here of mine before, you'll be bored of this bit, but Clouds Rest is 4.7 miles just ahead down here. You can also head to Half Dome and Yosemite Valley, and then if you want to go to the Sunrise High Sierra Camp, it's 2.5 miles in this direction. You can also get to Merced Lake, and obviously Twomey Meadows is 12.5 miles away, so it's a fair old stretch, but it's a nice hike. I've done that before and it is a nice trail. And then you can just see the way I've just come from, which is back towards Tenaya Lake. Now that's clocking 2.5 miles to Tenaya Lake, which is exactly what my Garmin has clocked as well. So 1,000 feet from the incline from where I started. This is my usual rock. I'm such a regular that I like to chill on. And then, as I said, straight on ahead for the trail. Oh, that was nice. I literally just stopped for about 10 minutes. I had a little bag of popcorn, which is a bit of a treat for me because I've been on a bit of a diet lately, so it was nice to have something a little bit naughty. But it's really important on these trails, especially in this kind of heat, to have lots of salty snacks as well as like sugary snacks as well, because you've got to keep your electrolytes up and keep your energy levels up. So I love to just scout up here because it's quite an open area, and I just saw some chipmunks, so I got a nice little photo of one of those guys, because we don't get them in the UK, and if you're from America you're probably like, it's just a chipmunk, but I love them. But sadly no bears so far today, and I'm a bit disappointed because I saw a couple of bears in the valley earlier in the season, but I haven't seen any here in Yosemite for a couple of months now, although I have seen some in Sequoia, so that's good. And I'm off to Glacier and Yellowstone in a couple of months, so I'm hopefully going to see some more there. But it would be nice to see another bear before this trip is over. But yeah, here we go. So 4.7 miles, and it's going to be a downhill for a little ways. This downhill section is really pretty. There's lots of little openings and there's so many wildflowers. It's gorgeous. Lots of like purple and orange and yellow. Really scenic. Obviously it's a very short window here in the Sierra for those wildflowers, so if you come a little bit later in the season they may have all gone, and I'm not even sure if this is the peak. I mean I've seen them in little pockets, so I think what I've noticed from previous visits is that certain ones pop out at different times, I guess. But there's just some more just ahead of me there as well, which is really catching the sun. It's gorgeous this morning. And then you can see all of the granite peaks and the trees dotted around. It really just serves that proper like high Sierra vibes. It's so pretty. And the trail is going to carry on just down here. Bored. I'm getting bored now with all of these wildflower shots, but look, just dotted all over, absolutely gorgeous. And that's where I'm headed. So very shortly I'll be coming to a lake, which is a water source. It's quite a stagnant lake, so the bugs will be peaking around that area. So after that point, there's a little bit more of like, just like waterways, like little creeks and stuff, and then it will thin out. So if you are experiencing bad bugs up until this point, now they are swarming around. I'm caked in bug spray, so I'm sure there'll be bites, but it's not as bad as I thought. But this section is definitely going to be like the worst section for bugs, that and obviously that first mile. But yeah, I've just finished coming down the uphill section, the downhill section, which on the way back is obviously going to be uphill, but it's not as bad as the first section. That's definitely a longer arduous climb. This is going to be a shorter climb, but it is a tough climb, and obviously the sun will be out and there's not that much shade in that section, so you will find that bit is probably one of the more challenging parts of the way back. The rest of it is going to be mostly downhill, so the rest of it's a bit easier. But it gets quite hot, so just bear that in mind. So definitely save some water. But yeah, there's just a little bit more forest now and some small meadows and such, and I am just heading this way. So nestled here is another water source. It's a very small water source, and this is one of the first ones I've seen in a little while actually, but again it flows a little bit more excitingly at the start of the season, but it's turning into a bit of a drab now. There it is. I like the sound. Very therapeutic. This section just before the lake is a really open rocky area, and you can see there's just like a boulder field, and it's quite exposed, so it's nice in the sun. Not too many bugs in that section as well, which is good, but yeah, not much shade either, so definitely one of those areas where you don't want to find yourself without water. But I'm not too far from that lake now. In fact, I'll be honest, I thought the lake was a bit sooner. I forgot about the boulder field, but the lake is what I depict as the halfway point. It's a little bit more than halfway actually, so yeah, but it's not too far away now. So I've made it here to the lake. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's very still. There's a mama duck with her little ducklings on the lake, and it's very quiet up here. I say this every video, but this is why I like Tiger Road, especially in the summer, because Yosemite is gorgeous, the valley is stunning, but up here it just is so much more peaceful and less intense. It's 4th of July weekend and I've seen like 5 people all day. So yeah, but it's a nice spot to stop and take all the sights in. And this is definitely just past the halfway point. So from this point, I'm not gonna lie, it's uphill the whole way, but it's a gentle uphill until you get to the spine of Clouds Rest, or just before Clouds Rest. So whilst you're going uphill, I personally think that switchbacks bit was the hardest bit. And don't get me wrong, you'll be out, you'll be sweating, your heart rate will be up, but it's not too bad. And there's plenty of spaces to stop as well. There's plenty of forest, and then the last sort of mile or so is very exposed. But yeah, I'm going to press on because it's taken me 2 hours to get here. I've really been taking my time today. I'm normally a little bit quicker, but as I said, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to be taking it all in today. And there's another shot of the lake for you just from here in the trees. And the trail, you can see it really clearly just goes around here. And then I'll be starting to climb up through the forest over there. And here we have a little water crossing and another water source for you. So it's a bit boggy here, I would say. I'll try and make sure I balance myself. There we are. I think, if I remember rightly, there might be another one. Trails this way. Ah yes, here we are. Another little brook to cross. So I'm just under 4.5 miles into the hike, and there was a little bit of a steep section just coming out of that marshy area, and it's leveled off a little bit now. It's always going up, but just a little bit more of a sensible up, where it's quite gentle and you don't really feel it as much. I'm in the shade at the moment, which is really nice because it's going to be a warm one today. But I am finding that since I've been on this like weight loss journey, my energy is actually not quite what it was. But I think it's because normally I would have eaten so many candy bars and sugary snacks, but I'd probably have this huge boost. But obviously not good for me. So I feel like I definitely need a snack soon because I'm flagging a little bit, but it's not too far to go. About 3 miles, and 1 mile of that is really spectacular, so I'll have that to encourage me. But I'll just show you the trail ahead. So as you can see, it's a pretty nice forested trail here. It's wide enough as well, which I quite like because I don't like narrow trails. I like when there's a bit of width to the trail, and you can just see it's just sloping up ever so slightly in this section, which is very, very welcome. But there is patches with the sun's breaking through the trees, and that's really nice as well, because it is nice to obviously be out in the sunshine in the summer, but it's just enough, there's enough shade to just give you that little respite from the sun. And I've just reached the final major trail junction, so you can see I've come according to this, 5.4 miles from Tenaya Lake. I'm always a bit skeptical because I think that's kind of inaccurate, that one. But you can see Merced Lake, the valley, Half Dome, and Nevada Falls if you want to head down a little bit of mist trailing. 7.6 miles that way. And Clouds Rest, 2.5 miles. Half Dome 7.5. Again, you can head to the valley and take that mist trail all the way down, but it's going to be a long way back to the car if I did that. So, here we go. Now, once you get to this section, the trees become a lot more sparse, so a lot more exposed, but the views start to open up, so it's worth it. And I think just knowing that you are just 2.5 miles is enough motivation to press on. But it does start to get a bit steeper, just to warn you. So definitely take it easy. This bit's not too bad, but it does pick up as the trail goes on. But so far, as you can see, it's really easy to follow. The conditions right now are amazing. There's no snow at all. There's 2 down logs that I hopped over, but they were like so straightforward. And there was alternative routes, but I just hop over the buggers. But yeah, it's a bloody lovely day here, and I'm really enjoying myself. So yeah, not too far to go. So I believe this is part of Clouds Rest. I say this every time, so I hope I am right. And you can see some of the domes off in the distance. So as I said, it's uphill, but if you take like regular breaks, it's fine. And I've actually found a bit of shade, so I'm just going to stand here for a couple of secs just to catch my breath and cool down a little bit. But you can see the trail up ahead. It's going to cut through these trees, and then it's going to go sort of around this section before it starts to head towards Clouds Rest summit itself. But you're definitely on the home run by the time you get to this point. And you know, every time I do the hike where you know, if I find it a bit hard one day or whatever, I think whenever I get to this point and I see it, I'm like, this is why I love this hike, because it just gives you like the best of Yosemite, and obviously the best bit is the view at the top, and we haven't even got there yet. So I definitely think once you get here, even though you start to flag, that motivation starts to kick in, which kind of makes it worthwhile. So this bit is so nice. After you have a bit of a steep climb, it levels out as you curve around that corner that I showed you, and then it's all up. But it's such a nice little respite from the intensity of the climb, and as you can see, it's nice and bright, nice and sunny, and that's the trail. So I've just had a little 5-minute mini break, sorry. I've got a protein bar all in my teeth. But yeah, just had a protein bar and some water, just to give me that bit of energy for the last push up to the summit. There's a few people that I've passed now that have been coming back this way, and they look like they've been backpacking. So there's definitely a few more people on the trail. Now I backpacked the JMT, and I've also done like a Yosemite backpacking trip the year later, and on both trips I submitted cloud rest. And it's not easy with a massive backpack. Like this bag that I've got today is probably a bit too big really. I mean, I carry like my GoPro, and then I've also got, there's a hoodie in there which I really wish I didn't take. But I've also got like my camera, my wildlife lens, just in case a bear pops up. So, you know, I do take probably more than the average person, but really you just need snacks and water. Now I've took a 1.5 litre bottle of water, and then my hydro flask for the way back, with the goal of drinking the 1.5 on the way up, and then the hydro flask, which I think is just over a litre, on the way down, because obviously it keeps things a bit cooler. So that's only like 2.5 litres, so it's not that much water. I mean, I probably could drink more because I drink a lot of water, but you definitely need that as a minimum. I would say 2 litres. But as I've shown you, there is places that you can filter water if you bring a filter with you. When I've done backpacking trips, I filter loads of water, but on these sorts of trips I just find that filtering like just an extra thing that I don't need to carry. But I think if you get like a mini soya squeeze thing, they're quite nifty, and they're quite small, so that wouldn't take up much room in your bag. I mean, I've got a big enough bloody bag for it, that's for sure. But yeah, here's the trail again. So you can see it's starting to slowly edge up, but there will be a point where it really starts to climb shortly. Christ, I thought all my Christmases had come at once. I thought finally another bear. But as you can see, it's the end of a log, but that is so bear shaped. Oh, gutted. I really thought my luck had turned then. Oh well. Take a good look at this spot, folks. I've just come slightly downhill. Look at the view for starters, but this is the last flat point. From here you can see it's starting now to slope back up, and it'll slope pretty quickly. A couple of switches, and then it'll be time to get on the spine. So yeah, once you've got to this point, you are almost there. I'm not sure in terms of mileage, but I would say it's less, probably just over a mile in total. You can see it's so gorgeous up here. Absolutely stunning. So here we go. I'm just getting closer to the spine now, and there's the first look back, and that's Tenaya Lake. That is where this stunning hike started, right by that lake, and it's such a gorgeous day. Wow, the views are going to keep improving. Up we go. I forget just how stunning this view is every time. And there it is. That's the spine. Not so scary after all, eh? And you can see just here, this trail kind of ends, and you're looking for this sign up here to get up onto the Clouds Rest spine. Wow, the view behind me is just sick. as for this bit, it doesn't really faze me, but I know a lot of people get nervous about being up here on the spine. What I would say is if there's thunderstorms, rain, definitely avoid. Nearly there. So you can see just up ahead there's a guy on the peak there, and there's your first view of Half Dome and Yosemite Valley itself. Absolutely insane. Oh wow, it's narrow, but there's plenty of space for your feet. Look at Half Dome and Scenic Lake, where it all started. And this current 5 minutes is the reason this is the best hike in Yosemite, and you've got to do it if you head up to Tiger Road this summer. I don't want to fall there, and I don't want to fall there. Wow, sketchy. And this right here is kind of the summit itself. This is the high point. It's gorgeous. There's a marmot. Ah, there he is. Just down there, I've got some photos of him. So the nice yellow-bellied marmot. I saw a few of them up here this summer. He's just munching away. So there's the view. Obviously, if you're heading up here and you want to ask any questions, please comment below, because I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. But yeah, for me, this is it. This is the one, the best hike in Yosemite. So yeah, I will take a little rest now and then start heading back. The way back can be a bit of a slog, so yeah, I'm gonna see how I get on. I might not film a bunch, but if there's anything of note, I'll film it for you. Otherwise, I'll see you back at the car. This is the view, just heading back towards Scenic Lake. So it doesn't look that far. I think when I see it from here, I'm always like, oh, is that it? You know, just a cheeky 7.5 miles. But it's the terrain, it's rugged, and there's obviously, as I said, it's up and down. It's not too bad though. It's predominantly uphill to get here, so it is predominantly downhill back. But there are definitely sections which are quite tiring, so it's good to pace yourself. But yeah, I mean, I could stay up here all day. You can actually see the Tuolumne River cutting through these rocks. I don't know if the GoPro is going to pick it up, but it's absolutely gorgeous, and obviously ultimately that's going to take you down to LYV. So I'm just going to hop down here, and then just going to have 5 minutes to soak up this view, and it'll be time to head down. Hi. Wow, so there you have it guys, I've made it back to the car. I did end up using the mosquito head net for the last section because they were biting me, and I've got some bites on my face, so I must have missed a spot with the old bug spray earlier. But it took me a total of 6 hours and 35 minutes. And that was including some filming time, obviously some time resting at the top, but I did keep moving for a lot of it. And it clocked in at 13 miles. And I'll tell you the elevation. 3,000 feet elevation and 4,420 calories burned. So make sure you've got plenty of snacks, plenty of water. It's a lot busier now in the parking lot, but the trail itself, I still went like every 20-30 minutes without seeing anybody, so it's still quite quiet up there compared to the valley. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon.